here's Richard's thoughts.
Are you expecting any changes from this, which is just one of 1,500 protests going on?
I hope there would be some changes. Basically, the reason I'm here today is to sort of protest the Taj Mahal that we're standing in front of.
Here's what Vero Beach resident Bob Richardson had to say.
Bob, did you come to this protest armed?
No, armed with thoughts. Armed with thoughts, and my thoughts are that they're spending way too much money in Washington, and I think the money should stay here because we can be better spenders of it locally than they can in Washington. Because when you send money to Washington, it gets stolen on the way up and stolen on the way back. I think Congress people need to read the Constitution and only do those things for us that the Constitution says it's going to do for us.
Are you hoping that this will wake up Washington and change something?
Certainly are. When you see crowds like this, I'm sure that our representatives, both in the Senate and the Congress, and possibly even the President, will realize that we want us to live within our means.
Absolutely.
My family does, and I think so should the government.
Well, I absolutely agree with you, and it was very nice talking to you and seeing you also.
And I had a chance to speak with County Commissioner Gary Wheeler.
We're here with Mr. Gary Wheeler. Mr. Wheeler, do you think that this rally is really going to change anything?
Yeah, I think that it can nationwide. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and, you know, one woman changed the whole environment on driving while intoxicated and started MAD. It starts someplace, and I think to get a rally and to have these people turn out, it shows that people are getting fed up with government. They're getting fed up with the direction the country's going, and this is what's going to change things, because it's been rallies like this on the other side of the spectrum that's put us where we are today. So I think this is time for maybe taking back a little bit of what we've lost from my perspective.
I absolutely agree with you, and it's really great to see all of Vero Beach residents out here joining in on this protest, if you will.
Yep, I love it, and I can tell you, and I'm a Republican, this is not a partisan thing.
Right.
If this rally was about George Bush's spending, I'd have been here for it also. Government spends too much and takes too much and is involved in too much. We need to get back to the basics of taking care of public safeties, roads and bridges, our military, and get out of a lot of the programs we're in. That's my opinion. So
I totally agree, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I spoke with John E. Moore III from Rossway Moore & Taylor Law Firm.
We're here with John Moore. Mr. Moore, do you think that this rally is really going to change anything?
Well, sure. I mean, you have to start somewhere. And what you have to remember about this is one of 1,500 of these things taking place today around the country. So it's part of a much wider effort than just here. And it's a wonderful event. A lot of people worked very, very hard to bring it together, but look at all the people that are here already, ready to express their voices.
I know, there's a lot of people, and I think there's only more coming.
I think you're right. It'll be interesting to see. Well, I got here about a half an hour ago, and the parking lot was already full. So a lot of people interested to hear the message, a lot of people here showing their support for the message. So
well,
I think that's great.
I hope they hear the message, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
And here's what Congressman Bill Posey had to say.
Thank you, taxpayers. You gave me a chill up and down my spine. To share about two examples, and I could talk on them for hours, those of you who have heard me speak before on these issues, two examples of what I think is horrible taxpayer abuse in Washington, D.C., and things that we need to work on changing, obviously. We need to demand changes in them. You know, the first meeting that I went to, or one of the first meetings as a member of the Financial Services Committee, we had the Undersecretary of the Treasury there, and we asked him in committee to tell us who all got the TARP money, the Troubled Asset Relief Program, the bailout money. We said, we'd like to know who all got that money and exactly how much money they got. Right? You know what he said? He said, I'm not going to tell you. True story. I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. And so the committee said, well, look, we're Congress. We're your boss. we demand you tell us who got the money and how much they got. Right. And he said, I'm not telling you. You can't make me. Next question. And that's the truth. Now later on, you know, because the question that demands an answer is, why in the world wouldn't you want to tell us who got it? Yeah. And he said, if the people who got the money had known that we would ever disclose it, they may not have taken it. True story. Your demands and your protests are well founded. Next subject, stimulus bill. Now, we heard the stimulus bill was going to be made available to the public on Thursday, the day of the Daytona qualifying races. That's how I remember the day it was. And I stayed at the Capitol till 10:30 at night to get a copy of the stimulus bill so I could have all the time possible to read it before the next morning. At 10:30, I gave up the ghost. I said, I'm going to go home. Obviously, it's not going to be out today. I was home watching Jeff Gordon on tape delay, you know, finally winning the race up there, Jeff. Go, Jeff. And the phone rings, and it's my press secretary, George Sakala. And George, the Congressman, the bill is available online now. So he sent me the link, and I went online, and I started reading it. Now, by this time, it's about 12 o'clock. About 1:30, I said, you know, I'll get on this again in the morning when my eyes are fresh. And little did I know that debate started on this bill at 9 o'clock the next morning. By 2 o'clock, it was passed. Yes. Now, the stimulus bill, the last time we were in Indian River County, or not the last time, we've been here for the last 3 days, but the last 2 weeks ago time we were here, we brought a copy of the stimulus bill with us. It's 1,178 pages. We used 6 print cartridges to print it. We literally burned up one printer printing this document. Now, the Congressional Budget Office says actually the thing finally weighs out at $1.2 trillion. They said, an expert said, if you read on the level almost genius, a straight A college graduate student, you could read that bill in only 12 hours if you did not stop to go to the bathroom, get fresh air, have a smoke, or whatever else you might do. Didn't say you could comprehend it, said you could read it. And, well, that's part of the story, too, you know. The question was, did Nancy make her fight? But the bill even has handwritten notes on it. This is the first time I've ever voted on legislation that had handwritten notes in the margins on what was going to be in it. Now, this stimulus bill, which I thought was supposed to stimulate the economy, only spends 11% this year. 11% this year. I mean, you think stimulus, bring out the defibrillators, we're going to knock this, life back in this economy, and it didn't, you know. I'm afraid all it's going to do is send you kids to TAP, unfortunately. We need to change that. We have legislation now pending. They probably won't hear it, but I think you should have a 72-hour cooling off period when you vote for any taxpayer expenditures of money like we have in the state of Florida. Again, I want to thank you for getting actively, for participating so actively. If people across this great land will take up the torch that you have carried here today and take it over the next couple of election cycles and let their voices be heard, you won't need to have these things anymore in the future. God bless you, and God bless America.
Okay, if you got here a little earlier, you know that was the Brown sisters entertaining you. They are now going to lead us in the national anthem.
Surprise!
Indian River Tea Party, April 15, 2009. Citizens Declaration. A message to our government in Washington, D.C. We, the citizens attending the Indian River Tea Party, are deeply concerned that 1. Government spending is out of control and far beyond our national means. 2. The deficits being created by the accelerated increases in the size of our government and its obligations are not sustainable. 3. The resulting debt and tax burdens on the citizens of this country necessary to fund this spending are rapidly becoming untenable. 4. These burdens will ultimately put our economy, our jobs, and our nation's standard of living at risk, at serious risk, which will become increasingly onerous for our children, our grandchildren, and generations to come. 5. Borrowing ever-increasing amounts from foreign nations who do not have our best interests at heart diminish our control over our economy and ultimately represents a national security risk. 6. These factors will combine to damage the dollar and its credibility as the world's reserve currency. 7. Passage of unread and earmarked spending bills without transparency or clear understanding is unacceptable. Therefore, with humility and resolve, we declare that our government must learn to live within its means, without unsustainable debt and tax burdens on the economy and on the people. We implore both our legislative and executive branches to return our nation to a condition of fiscal discipline. This is your responsibility to the American people. If you would like us to send this declaration to Washington, D.C., representing you, the people, raise your right hand and say, "God bless America."
No socialism! President Obama!
All right. I trust everybody here has mailed a tea bag or at least the label and the string to Washington. If you have not, it is not too late. Please do so. And your attendance here today indicates that America is fed up with the spending. Thank you. Now we have a website. It's IndianRiverTeaParty.com. We ask that you go to that website and you click on Contacts. And you can enter your name and your contact information so you can stay tuned if other events unfold, if this goes forward, because this is just the first step. Trust me. We would love to hear your comments on the event today, and we are going to end this program with Mr. John Toohey is going to lead us in God Bless America. John, come up, please.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. One more time. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
This is Charlotte Tripson from PlanetVero.com, and this has been one of the greatest rallies in Indian River County, and hopefully we'll see a change.